Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to Rogers Center. It is the Blue Jays charity broadcast auction night tonight, and the Cleveland Indians and Blue Jays will wrap up their 3-game series. This will be the final game between these two ball clubs for this season. Cleveland broke out the bats big time last night. They had 22 hits and scored 15 runs. Let's take a look at their lineup tonight. Michael Bourne, Nick Swisher, Ryan Rayborn, top 3 in the order. Down in the 7th spot is Yan Gomes, a former Blue Jay. His last 9 games, he's been swinging a hot bat. He had a home run in last night's game. And then right behind him, how about David Murphy? This series, he is 6 for 10, including a 5-hit night last night. Jay Happ's got to try to cool off this red-hot lineup.
Makes his 3rd start after starting the season on the disabled list and 3 appearances out of the bullpen. Blue Jays are going to need some length tonight from Jay because of what happened last night, the 15 runs and the 22 hits by the Indians. So Jay's got to go deep into this one tonight.
First pitch is in there for a strike. Michael Bourne had a couple of hits last night. The Indians had hits up and down the order. Breaking ball outside. The Indians established season highs in hits, extra base hits, runs in an inning with 6. That's fouled into the seats down the left side. They also had a season high 37 total bases and the largest winning margin of this season. They won by 11 runs.
And think about this. It was 4-2 going into the 7th inning. It was a close game, and they just busted it open.
David Murphy had 5 hits and 5 RBIs. The Indians scored 11 of their 15 runs after the 6th inning. Bullpen got hit hard. Marcus Stroman and Neil Wagner had a tough night. Fouled and off the glove of the catcher, Eric Kretz. Jay Happ making his first start against the Indians since 2012. For the season, he's 1-1. Cut out and missed. Gordon strikes out. 1 down. Take a look at the defense. More changes for the Blue Jays. Melky Cabrera's in left. Anthony Gose makes his 2nd start in center. He was just called back up for the 3rd time. Bautista's in right. Francisco and Reyes on the left side. Laurie and Lynn on the right side. And the catcher is Eric Kratz making his 5th start of the season.
And it just wasn't getting better for Colby Rasmus. He goes on the DL. Anthony Gose back out in center field. And he is free to do his thing out there. Very impressive speed. And his chance right here to do something with the Blue Jays.
Happ gets ahead of Nick Swisher. Swisher is a switch hitter, batting right-handed. The Indians have had a tough time against lefty pitching this year. For the season, they're just 4-9. They're 0-7 against lefties on the road.
And as a team, they're only hitting 209.
Anthony Gose with good speed gets over and makes it look easy. 2 down.
Let's take a look at what Jay Happ will feature tonight against the Cleveland Indians. He's got the fastball, the slider, the curveball, and the changeup. Your basic 4 pitches that you're going to use against anybody. He's got to get that curveball over, I think, and use that changeup effectively. Fastball command has been his problem at times, where he falls behind hitters and has too long of innings and too many base on balls. Get that secondary stuff. Get it over.
Ryan Rayburn making his first appearance in the series. Rayburn is in left field. Michael Brantley left last night's game with a stiff lower back, and he is not in this lineup to start the game.
They lost 2 players in the course of about an inning last night.
The starter, Michael Brantley, and then his defensive replacement, Nigel Morgan. And Morgan's been placed on the DL. Brantley Blue Jays aren't really sad that he's out of the lineup. They can't figure out how to get him out. Hayward goes around. Good start for Jay Happ. Couple of strikeouts. The Indians are down in order in the first. To the Jays Care Foundation. It is taking place out in center field, and if you want more information, log on to bluejays.com/broadcast auction, and they will let you know what is up for bid tonight. Now let's take a look at the Blue Jays lineup. Jose Reyes, Melky Cabrera, and Jose Bautista, top three. Edwin Encarnacion's the DH, and then Adam Lind. His homestand, he's gone 7 for 22 in his return to the lineup. 3 doubles, a home run, and 5 RBIs. And then Juan Francisco, he's been a nice pickup. His last 14 games, he's hit .326 with 4 homers and 13 RBIs. It's a potent bat. You got to keep in the lineup.
Yeah, he's can knock the ball out of the ballpark at any time. This is 24-year-old Danny Salazar right here. Their prize prospect out of the farm system. Showing improvement. He started the year 0-3 through his first 4 starts. It looks like something on his glove is going to have to be blackened out, or maybe cut those ribbons that are on the end of it right
I'm not
there.
sure if it's that or if it's a sweatband. Yeah, it's the sweatband. It's a pink sweatband he had on his glove, and the umpire behind the plate, Paul Emo, felt like it may be a distraction. And when you really think about it, the logo of that Rawlings glove is almost the same color as that sweatband. But they had him removed. Salazar seems to be fine with it.
This is his first start since May the 7th. The Indians are doing a good job with their young prize prospect of limiting his innings, and if they have to skip him at times, just slow him down just a little bit. He's got a fantastic arm.
Reyes takes his strike. Salazar came out through his warm-ups. There's that wristband, and you can see it is a big pink wristband, and they had him remove it, and the umpire felt like it was such a different color than the glove. He wanted it removed. This is popped up near the Blue Jays dugout. Santana gets there, and he makes the catch. The third baseman records the first out for the Indians. Take a look at the defense, and in the outfield, it's Rayburn making his first start in this series. Michael Bourne is the center fielder. David Murphy's in right. Santana continues to play at third base. The former catcher doing a nice job there. Cabrera and Aviles up the middle. Swisher's at first, and the catcher is Yan Gomes.
We talked about the hits by David Murphy. He's a good fielder also. He hasn't made an error. In fact, he's working on 114 consecutive errorless games, almost 1 full calendar year without making an error. That came last May.
Melky Cabrera takes the pitch downstairs. 327 for the season for Cabrera. Taking all the way. That's a strike. Danny Salazar has given up 6 home runs. That's the most given up by a Cleveland pitcher.
Blue Jays are familiar with him. He made his big league debut against the Blue Jays last year. And he was outstanding.
He's establishing his fastball early in this game. That debut came July 11th. Against the Blue Jays, he went 6 innings, allowed 2 hits, struck out 7 and walked just 1 batter. He became the first Indians pitcher to strike out at least 7 batters in his major league debut since Louis Tiant. Tiant made his debut in the second game of a doubleheader on July 19th, 1964. Tiant went 9 innings and struck out 11.
It's the Yankees. Got that big Yankee team.
Another pop-up. Cabrera, the shortstop, takes charge and makes the catch. 2 pop-up outs. Salazar's got a good heater early in this ballgame.
And he'll use it. Let's take a look at the pitch usage from Salazar. Fastball, the changeup is almost like a split changeup. It's outstanding. Goes straight down, and he's got a very good slider. Got a very good reputation. Came up last year and did really well. Pitched in the playoffs last year for him. And he wants that big year. And the Indians are very cautious, and they're going to be very careful with him. He did not make his spring training debut till March the 7th this year.
Salazar is 1-3 early on. The league has hit .301 against him. Bautista takes the fastball outside, 98 miles an hour. There's certainly enough velocity there.
Yeah, free and easy. And if you start getting that fastball over, you establish it, then he can drop that changeup on you.
Foul back. Well, velocity is certainly a topic of discussion over the first 6 weeks of this season. So many pitchers going down to Tommy John surgery in the Texas Rangers. Blue Jays' next opponent got bad news about Martin Perez. He's going to have Tommy John. Bautista waves at that breaking ball. 3 up, 3 down for Salazar. Broadcast auction is going on. We'll check in with Ivanka Osmak, who's hosting the auction, when we come back to Rogers Center.
Broadcast auction presented by TD. Here we are at the Rogers Center. I'm Ivanka Osmak. Last year we raised $183,000 thanks to you, and this year we have a goal of $200,000, and I definitely think we can reach it. I'll tell you one of the 11 items that you can bid on right now. Teen off with alumni. You and 3 guests get to hit the links with Blue Jays alumni, including Jesse Barfield, Dwayne Ward, and Lloyd Mosby on June 18th. How awesome does that sound? Buck, I know golfing is right up your alley, right?
It sure is, Ivanka, and I can vouch for the fact that whoever buys that package, they're going to have a ton of laughs with those 3 guys. Jesse Barfield, Dwayne Ward, and Lloyd Mosby. There'll be a golf outing at Bondhead, and you'll have a blast, and I know the shaker can hit it, so can Jesse Barfield.
I got to guarantee also, if you buy that package and you golf with them, you're going to win.
Yeah, that might be another reason to buy it. Cleanup hitter is Carlos Santana. Santana, like Swisher, is a switch hitter. Off the end of the bat, Jay Happ takes his time. Santana's retired, one down here in the second. This is an interesting night for any Blue Jay pitcher after what the Indians did last night. You got to come out and just make quality pitches. And that's the beauty of baseball. You get to play every night. So that shellacking at the hands of the Indians last night is distant memory.
Yeah, forget about it. And he knows, Jay knows what's in front of him tonight. He knows the bullpen was used last night. They didn't get a lot of mileage out of the starter. So he has to go deep tonight and give his team a chance to win.
Asdrubal Cabrera, another switch hitter. Big strike one. Such an asset to have switch hitters in your lineup. It really puts pressure on the opposing manager. In fact, the Indians have 4 switch hitters in their roster, including the young infielder Jose Ramirez, whom we saw last night. There's Nick Swisher sporting the Pat Tabler haircut.
Really? You want to go there, huh?
Swisher told us not many people can pull it off.
Yeah. We're still looking for the first one who can pull it off. But having switch hitters like that, Terry Francona does a good job of sprinkling them within his lineup to make it tough on the opposing manager, especially when you get deep into a ball game and you want to use your bullpen to try and get through those tough outs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Managers will look at the opposing team, not only the starter, but they'll look at the bullpen and say, okay, how do we protect our lineup the most effectively? And you could look at the number 3 spot. Ryan Rayburn sitting 176, but he's got him between Swisher and Santana, a couple switch hitters in. Rayburn's a right-handed bat, so he put his bat in that 3rd spot.
And it's not like he's like breaking left-handed pitching either. He's hitting 175 against him. That could be for later on in the game. If the Blue Jays go to a right-handed pitcher to face Rayburn in a tough situation, he's got Michael Brantley on the bench.
Of course, we don't know how available Michael Brantley is, given the fact he left the game last night. Blue Jays bullpen, outside of Stroman and Wagner, probably all hands on deck. Brantley, as we mentioned, absolutely wears out the Blue Jays, and he had to leave the game after doubling in the 5th. He had a double to right field and then did not take his position in the bottom half of the inning. Popped up, then we'll give it a look, but it's going to be out of play.
That's another thing that I saw too much of last night. A lot of fouled off pitches that kept at bats going. And what was the final total for the Blue Jays throwing pitches?
It was over 200.
Over 200 last night, and the best at bat was the Yan Gomes at bat late in the game. 12 pitches, and he finally homered. But a lot of pitches that were fouled off at bats continued.
Off-speed pitch pulled foul. You saw the shot of Dustin McGowan in the bullpen, and he is going to work out of the bullpen for the near future. Probably won't be available till Sunday in Texas, but John Gibbons made the announcement. He spoke to McGowan and decided that for the time being, the ball club and McGowan are better served with him down there. Francisco reached for that ball. Looked like he might have thought it was foul. And Cabrera will end up at second base. Francisco was guarding the line. He was playing him to pull, and he just kind of reached down as if he anticipated it was going to be called a foul ball.
You can see him right on the line. Now the ball just has to go over just any piece of that bag, and Jerry Meals calls it fair. He just didn't get the glove down.
It is a double for Cabrera, his 11th double, and he is throwing that baseball out.
It's 200th
career double.
200. Came in here 199 doubles. That's his 200th career double.
One out. This is Jesus Aguilar, who is making his major league debut. His numbers at AAA Columbus He hit .298 with 7 home runs, but he hit .346 against left-handed pitching. He's out in front of that breaking ball. Aguilar is from Venezuela. He's just 23 years old. He's 6'3" and weighs 250. He's a natural first baseman. This is his first big league at bat. They called him up when they placed Nigel Morgan on a disabled list after the game last night.
I find it really interesting that the Blue Jays are shifting on him. First big league at bat. You can see 3 infielders on the left side of the diamond versus the left-hander. Don't know how much film they have on the guy to be able to say, okay, he's a natural pull hitter.
No, they don't have any information on him hitting against big league pitching.
No. This is the first one.
Inside, he jumps back from that fastball. Aguilar was signed as a free agent, an 18-year-old in 2007. Actually, when he signed, he was 17, played his first season as an 18-year-old. This is his 7th season in the Indians system. He'll take ball 4.
On Sportsnet, brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, and by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Don't forget the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction is going on right now, and you can bid on several great items, including a trip to Cooperstown with Robbie Alomar. Yan Gomes hit a 3-run home run in the 9th inning in last night's game off Neil Wagner. A terrific at bat, as you mentioned.
He saw everything that Neil had to offer. Fastball, slider, splitter. He kept fouling it off. Foul at 12 pitch at bat. Terry Francona was talking about it after the game, saying, you know, here's a guy he's caught every inning. The game was in hand, but he still went out there and he battled him in the 9th inning.
Well, you learn how to not give anything away. You might learn something during that at bat that'll serve you well in a tight ball game.
And that was the point, that the Indians don't give away at bats. They just can't.
Rogers, Stroman, and Wagner all pitched in the game last night. Jay Happ with the 1-out double and then the walk.
This is the home run that we were talking about. That was the 9th inning. The game was already in hand, and that's a pitch up and away from him. His first home run this year to right field. And think about that. He had caught for 8 innings. He had worked with his pitcher. He had already had a hit in the game, and the game was in hand, but he gave a heck of an at-bat against Neil Wagner.
Bouncing ball. Laurie steps on second for 1, back to first. Double play. Fred Laurie made it look easy. The ball took him right to the bag. Jay Happ is out of the top half of the second.
are also lesser price items that you can buy at tonight's auction, the Fan Pack, and they are going fast. We have $750 $100 packs and only $250 of the $50 packs. All you have to do is go to BlueJays.com/broadcast auction, and they are going fast, as I said. Buck?
Thank you, Ivanka. Those are always nice gifts. You can surprise a Blue Jay fan by picking up one of those fan packs, and they will go quickly, so make sure you call in early and order your fan pack. Edwin Encarnacion has been dealing with a little bit of a back spasm, so he is the DH for a second consecutive night. .241 for the season with 6 homers. Edwin has 131 home runs in a Blue Jays uniform. He is just one behind Ernie Witt for 9th on the all-time home run list. Look out, Pat.
I got it.
Right into our booth.
Yeah. I would have had it.
Well, you called it. You should have had it.
I got it.
You got it.
Caught it on the fly. Not too many reach up here.
No.
Do they?
Every once in a while we'll get one in the booth. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. High and deep to center. Michael Bourne gives up. It is gone. 132nd home run in a Blue Jays uniform. That ties Edwin with Ernie Witt for 9th on the all-time club homer list.
And you got the idea that he was just measuring Danny Salazar right there. First pitch fastball down the middle. He takes it. Slider takes it for strike 2. Fouls one off and then gets a fastball out over the plate. And watch how he goes out and gets this. Just muscles that ball over the center field wall. Boy, that is a good sign when he is driving the ball like that to straightaway center field.
Well, he's strong enough to hit him out any part of the ballpark, and that's proof right there. He gives the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead. That's the 7th home run allowed by Salazar. We mentioned the home run ball was a problem for him. He leads the Indians in that department, and that's one category you don't want to lead in.
Well, what you don't want to do is pace yourself as a pitcher. There's one pitcher in the major leagues that we've seen who can do that, and that's Justin Verlander. But he's got 4 pitches that he can get over at any time. Verlander will throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball early in the game, and then when he needs to strike a guy out, he can reach back for a little bit more. Salazar doesn't do that because he doesn't have the repertoire that Verlander has.
Lincott looking at that fastball, 96 at the knees. 1 down.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Edwin Encarnacion has given the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead with his 7th home run of the season. Salazar, as you mentioned, Pat, pretty much a max effort guy, both with the breaking ball and the fastball. Misses with that fastball. You mentioned Verlander, and I think that was a great point. Does that have to do with Verlander's success and competence and experience, that he can back off knowing that every pitch doesn't have to be 100%?
Yes, and he's got 4 pitches that he can throw for strikes. He's been around the block, and I'm sure Salazar is going to get there at some point. But right now, he can't just throw a 90, 92 mile an hour up there. He's got to give it what he's got.
Well, and so many pitchers, when they first come to the big leagues, we mentioned that Salazar made his debut last July 11th. They think that every big league hitter is going to hit every strike you throw them. Takes you a while to understand that's not the case. Juan Francisco with a 3-1 count. His last 14 games, he's hit .326 with 4 homers and 13 RBIs. High, deep drive to left. This ball is hit a ton. Way out of here for Juan Francisco. His 7th.
Francisco has something you can't teach, and that's raw power. 7th home run of the season. That bat plays. It plays in the American League. It plays in this ballpark. It plays in that division that the Blue Jays play in. He's got to play every day. Watch how he goes down and gets this one. Looked like a two-seamer. He tried to sink down and away. He just muscled that ball himself to left field. This is power right here. Watch how he winds up, gets everything into it. Just hammers it over the wall in left field.
His 7th home run in his 80th at bat. I tell you what, he and Kevin Seitzer have clicked.
He was hitting in the cage the other day, and he was doing flips with Jesus Figueroa. And Kevin Seitzer came in and he said to Kevin, I got it now. I got it. And he said, well, what do you have? What do you got? He goes, I got it. I'm just going to think about hitting the ball for a single. Just go for a single. Don't try and muscle the ball out of here. It's taken off again.
Brett Lawrie pulls it wide of third. I think Francisco's in a good spot. He's got a couple of excellent mentors in Edwin Encarnacion and Jose Bautista. Of course, they're all from the Dominican Republic, and they're comfortable here. And Edwin's a smart hitter. Jose is a smart hitter. And when you get a young guy like Francisco and you surround them with other good hitters, it's infectious. They're always talking about hitting. This guy can hit too.
You know, you ask Edwin about what it was that took him to the next level as a hitter. He said learning from Jose Bautista how to study pitchers.
And Jose Bautista, before Laurie's at bat tonight, was talking about Danny Salazar. He said you got to watch that splitter, and then the fastball runs away from him. High pop-up near second base. Cabrera, the shortstop, and Aviles catches it. Looked like they had their wires crossed a bit. That's the 2nd out of the inning. That'll bring Eric Kratz to the plate. Kratz making his 5th start of the season behind the plate. Gianna Navarro is away from the ball club. He's on the bereavement list. Take care of a personal issue. Fair ball. Nasty hop. All the way across. Swisher can't dig it out of the dirt. Santana made a terrific play to catch it initially. Swisher couldn't dig it out of the dirt for him.
You know, and he had a little bit more time than what he thought he did. The ball's hit hard, hits the bag, and he catches it, and then just plants his foot and tries to throw. He could have planted his foot, taken a nice little quick crow hop over first base, gathered himself, and made a stronger throw, but it bounces in front of Swisher.
If that ball is more directly at Swisher, he can catch it on the hop. But it's a little bit toward the baseline, and he almost felt like he had to reach into the path of the base runner. Infield hit for Kratz, 3rd hit of the inning. Anthony Ghost gets his first at bat. I don't think Kratz is going to run.
No. Probably not.
2 outs for the Jays. A couple of home runs here in the 2nd. Edwin Encarnacion and Juan Francisco each hitting their 7th home run of the season. This is a potent lineup, top to bottom. Kobe Rasmus, center fielder, has just been placed on the disabled list. He's got that hamstring problem. Rasmus has 9 home runs. Salazar has now given up 8 home runs. The most home runs allowed in the American League, Jeremy Guthrie of the Royals has given up 11. CC Sabathia gave up 10 before he went on the DL. Dan Straley, David Price, Ricky Nolasco have all given up 9.
Jeremy Guthrie's at the top of that list every year.
Every year. Throws a lot of strikes and a lot of straight fastballs.
Yep. Challenges the hitters.
Anthony goes behind 0-2. Outside.
Thought we might see that change up with 2 strikes here to Ghost. He swung over the top of it for strike 2. And he lays off of that one. That's how you make adjustments right there within the at bat. He got his first look at Salazar and swung over the top of that changeup, and then thought he was going to throw another one and had a nice take.
Protects that outside corner and stays alive. Anthony Ghost was called up from AAA the first time on May 15th. Shouldn't be the last time he was called up. He's been up and down 3 times now. That's tough. You don't get a chance to get into a rhythm in either spot.
You figure, okay, what did I do wrong? Why did I get sent back down? You have to take a couple of days to get to where you need to. He just needs to play. Wherever they have him, just let him play and learn.
Eric Kratz at first base. It's a full count. He reached on an infield single to third. Leadoff man Jose Reyes is on deck. Anthony goes with a 3-2 count. Fouls it back. I think the one thing you see with a lot of young hitters is it's difficult for them to understand how early you have to start your swing.
Yeah, he's been tardy on a couple of these fastballs, and that's the main thing where you see a lot of young hitters that the ball's on them. They just have to get their swing started a little bit quicker.
Ball 4. Good job by Ghost. He'll turn the lineup over with that 2-out walk. So Danny Salazar retired Reyes, Cabrera, and Bautista in the first. And then Edwin Encarnacion kind of rattled his cage with that long home run to center. Don't forget the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction is taking place, and all of those people are waiting for your phone calls to make sure you make your bids, and there are plenty of great items up for auction. Practice with a pro, spring training getaway, all access experience, lots of fan packs, and they're going to put up a new total on the fan packs. Some of the Jays' wives are up in the football press box helping out, and we certainly appreciate their contributions. Batting practice with a pro, Little League pitching lesson with the 2013 All-Star Steve Delabar. That's up for auction. The grand prize of the whole auction is a trip to Cooperstown on a private plane with Roberto Alomar and a chance to visit the Hall of Fame with a Hall of Famer.
Are we working then? Because I think you and I should put a bid in there. That would be a lot of fun.
Current bid for that item, the Hall of Fame experience with Robbie Alomar, is $7,000. So make sure you check it out. But you fly to Cooperstown. You'll get to see the museum, have lunch with Alomar, and enjoy the town of Cooperstown, and then fly back to Toronto. Not everybody can get downstairs to see the archives at the Hall of Fame. I mean, they got things like Babe Ruth's bat, and sometimes get the opportunity, especially if you're in the company of a Hall of Famer, to go down there and see some of those things that they don't have room to display.
You got to figure that with his pull, Robbie's pull, he's going to be able to take you where most people don't get a chance to go.
Ball on a strike to Reyes.
And if you've never been to Cooperstown, you got to do it if you're a baseball fan. It's unbelievable. You'll never forget it. If you like beautiful little villages on a gorgeous lake and don't even know anything about baseball, it's a great place to visit. The Otsego Hotel is spectacular right on the Leather Stocking Golf Course. There's a drive towards center. Michael Bourne on the run. He'll get there. And Reyes is out to end the inning. Blue Jays send 7 men to the plate in the second. And they have taken a 2-0 lead. Couple of long balls. The first by Edwin Encarnacion to deep center. His 7th of the season. And how about opposite field power? Juan Francisco goes to left, his 7th.
Hard. There are 2 items that are perfect from you. You can learn how to pitch or, well, maybe improve your pitch from the pros. This one's for the little leaguers, going out 30 minutes with Steve Delabar, and then that includes 4 field level infield tickets to a game, also some pregame batting practice. And for the big kids, 30-minute pitching lesson with R.A. Dickey. Yeah, try and perfect the knuckleball. That shouldn't be hard, right, Buck?
Not at all, Ivanka. Piece of cake. R.A. has learned from the best. He is the best, and he can teach whoever bids on that great experience. David Murphy, 6 for 10 in this series. Got to tell him what's coming. David, we're going to throw you a fastball.
And we're going to throw it right down the middle.
Maybe he hesitates just a second.
Yeah, there's some self-doubt, just a little bit.
Hey, they're going to get him out. Murphy flies out to Cabrera, first out of the 3rd inning. Jay Happ gave up a double to Asdrubal Cabrera with 1 out in the 2nd. He got a double play off the bat of Yan Gomes to end the inning. He's been staked to a 2-0 lead. In case you're just joining us, Dustin McGowan has been removed from the rotation. His spot will come up Tuesday night in Boston, and they have not made an announcement as to who might fill that spot. McGowan, for the time being, will work out of the bullpen. John Gibbons has voiced his opinion that he feels McGowan is most effective pitching out of the bullpen.
You know, as to who that player might be that takes the spot in the rotation, it could be somebody who's already here on the roster who might come out of the bullpen. Could be somebody from within the organization. Blue Jays just aren't real sure right now. They're not giving away their thoughts.
Well, there are some natural options, and there's one of them right there, Todd Redmond. Redmond filled in as a starter last year. Marcus Stroman, another possibility. He was starting in AAA. Esmil Rogers made 20 starts last year for the Blue Jays. There are some internal options. There are some options in AAA. Liam Hendricks has gotten off to a good start in AAA. He's a possibility.
I don't think Sean Nolan is a possibility because of a hip problem that has just flared up for him.
Off the end of the bat, Laurie with good range. What a nice play. Brett Laurie can range far and wide at second base. He's got tremendous range, great lateral movement, and he made that play look easy.
Because the ball doesn't get there as fast as it does at third base, you could really take advantage of his outstanding athleticism and range. Look how far he goes, and he's got a great arm. That's a little flick of the wrist right there to get the out over at first base, but where he started and where he caught it, that's phenomenal.
2 outs. Back to the top of the order. Michael Bourne goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball. Ghost a long run and he runs it down. Anthony Ghost can go get him. 3 up, 3 down for the Indians. Melky Cabrera will start things off, then Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion has already gone deep here tonight.
Yes, well, this is the item that you should be bidding on, the broadcast experience. You can meet with Greg Zahn and Jamie Campbell. Also, head up to Sportsnet 590, the fan radio broadcast booth with Jerry Howarth. You also get a couple tickets. And, Buck, this just in. But Tim McCallum, Sid Sixero, Ken Reed, and myself are also going to throw our names into this broadcast experience and watch the game with those 2 guys.
Wow. I might even bid on that, Ivanka. So you get a chance to go up into the radio booth and be with Jerry Howarth, and that's a treat in itself. Pat and I are up here in the broadcast booth, and we get the pleasure of being with Scott Carson every night, and you can't put a price on that. Get a chance to meet Greg Zahn and Jamie Campbell in the Blue Jays Central set. Plus, you'll have your name broadcast on television, so make sure you bid on that broadcast experience.
Get to hang out with Jerry Howarth.
It's invaluable. I just don't know if people realize what an honor it is to talk with Jerry on a regular basis. Get a chance to go in a radio booth and sit down and listen to Jerry do his thing. He's been doing it since 1981.
How about that? He'll tell you a story or two, won't he?
One and two. Mark Burley, surveying things on Reyes, said, you know, you're getting a little old there, buddy boy. You're a little thin up there. Burley is so much more comfortable in his second season, and he is truly a leader. He doesn't miss a thing that happens on the field. Roy Rivera was telling me he knows the signs of the third base coach. And he hasn't played in a National League game this year. But he knows all the signs that Rivera will use during the course of a ball game. And he's always asking Rivera why he does certain things, and he doesn't miss anything that goes on the field. I mean, he's a great teammate. Always rooting for his teammates, always aware of the game situation.
Opened up a little bit more this year. I think he's a little bit more comfortable here in Toronto.
You and I have both gone through that. When you switch clubs and you go to a new club, no matter how experienced you are, how much of a success you have been in the past, you just don't want to step on any toes when you join a new club. 2-2. Cabrera is putting up quite a fight against Salazar.
Well, right now, Danny Salazar hasn't figured out a way to finish off the Blue Jay batters. He's got an outstanding changeup and an outstanding slider, but he wants to keep trying to pump that fastball in there at him.
The Blue Jay hitters have never seen a fastball they didn't like. You have to be able to change speeds to neutralize the Blue Jays. We saw Corey Kluber do that last night. He utilized terrific movement with a cut fastball and a two-seamer. Bouncing ball. Santana drops it. And Cabrera, to his credit, never anticipated a 5-3 ground out. He just hustled down the line and he gets rewarded. He reaches base to start the inning.
Yeah, that was a two-hopper to the third baseman. Right at him. And it clanks it in his glove. How many times have you seen batters hit balls like that and they just jog down the first base line and they're out when they drop it? To his credit, he hustled as soon as he hit it.
To answer your question, too many times. Not the case with Cabrera. Bautista goes after the first pitch, and it's at a mile high back into the seats. I always enjoy watching the fans on those high pop-ups. They all stand up. They all get ready to reach for it. They reach for it, and when it gets close, they all bail out.
And the person there paying no attention, just minding his own business, gets clocked.
Melky Cabrera aboard on the air by Santana. Santana's third air of the season. Bautista's hunting fastball.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he has an idea right now what Salazar is going to try and do to him. It wouldn't shock me if he hits a ball hard.
Broken bat. Asdrubal Cabrera, a long underhand toss, and they're able to double up Bautista, so that erases the air by Santana.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
It's the Sportsnet broadcast chair. The auction and the Blue Jays package of memorabilia is currently at the price of $1,800. All kinds of signed jerseys. Carlos Delgado picture. Oh my! Edwin Encarnacion put a charge in this one. It's off the wall. He's headed for second, and he'll get there standing up. Encarnacion with a homer and a double.
Homer to straightaway center field. And that time, he was hunting fastball. Watch where this ball is, out and away, and he's able to get the barrel around the baseball and pull this ball. Pulls it a little bit more, and he's got a second home run. That one is a drive deep to left center field.
But that's not what you want him to do, is pull it anymore. He's staying in the big part of the field, and he is squaring up the baseball right now.
He'll pull it down those lines just a little bit more where the pitch is. That was impressive because it was away from him, and he was able to pull it.
Adam Lynn, the first baseman, was caught looking at strike 3. He took a low fastball for the 3rd strike in his first at-bat.
You know, teams have hit .320 against Salazar's fastball this year. That tells me that he's not getting his breaking ball over when he needs to. I mean, he's got too good of a fastball for teams to be hitting .320 against him. His changeup and slider, they have to be thrown with a little bit more consistency.
That's an acquired skill. Takes a while for young pitchers to develop the confidence to throw a pitch less than 100% effort.
Spin that breaking ball. Saw it a little bit last night from Marcus Stroman, that his slider was at times very good, other times inconsistent, and it spun over the middle of the plate. Same thing with his changeup. You're right, that's an acquired thing.
Then hits this one to left. Brian Rayburn is there, and the inning is over. Edwin Encarnacion gets a 2-out double. He's left on base. The Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead as we head to the 4th.
Keep them coming. One item that I want to talk about, if you like vacation and you like baseball, how about going on the road with the Blue Jays? You get to pick a park where they're going to be visiting this summer and get a couple tickets to the games, as well as round-trip economy airfare for 2 from any WestJet destination. Pretty awesome stuff. Buck?
Sure is awesome stuff, Ivanka. And you look to the schedule for the Blue Jays and try to figure out, okay, where's the best trip? How about a 4th of July trip to San Francisco for the Oakland series? Blue Jays stay in San Francisco, get to see the Golden Gate Bridge and the new Bay Bridge, and then watch the Blue Jays take on the Oakland Athletics. Or you can always go to Seattle in August. That's a great ballpark.
A couple of day games in Oakland while the Jays are there, so you have your nights in San Francisco.
Friday night is the 4th of July, so day game, and then you get a chance to watch them celebrate the 4th of July in the Bay Area. That's a pretty special trip. Of course, there's a New York City trip. I tell you, I should have seen this one and known right away it'd be the best destination. There's a line drive to center. Nick Swisher starts things off with a one-hop single to center. How about a trip to Cincinnati, home of Pat Tabler?
I was just going to say that. I was like, the best trip would be to Cincinnati. You can get some Skyline chili. You can get some Montgomery ribs.
The Montgomery ribs are the best ribs in the world. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
The Precinct is a great steakhouse.
Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse.
I'm not a big guy on the Skyline chili.
You got to grow up doing it. It's an acquired taste.
Oh, I thought you meant I needed to grow up.
No, you didn't. You've already done that. You had to grow up on it. You had to grow up eating it.
Yeah, it's a little sweet. It's different.
That's the cinnamon in the chili.
Yeah, no, really. Cinnamon and chili?
Nothing like it. You're going to have to come to Cincinnati to try it.
Great zoo in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Go to the Cincinnati Zoo. Of course, a beautiful ballpark. Great America Ballpark, and a chance to see Joey Votto. So there you go.
What a salesman you are.
It's a great city. Seattle, of course. How about Chicago? Weekend in Chicago in August. Fly there and watch the Blue Jays play. That's a beautiful ballpark as well. And there's nothing quite like the Miracle Mile of Chicago in the summertime. So put your thoughts together, get your friends together, and come up with a game plan. There's a weekend in New York in late July.
Yeah, New York, you can't go wrong there.
But you want to go on a long trip. New York, you can go to New York any weekend.
Okay.
It's easy.
Seattle, you mentioned Seattle. Seattle is a gorgeous city.
Go to Pike Street Market, have breakfast above the Pike Street Market, and overlook Puget Sound. Beautiful. Ryan Rayburn fouls it straight back. 3. The trip is round-trip airfare for two to and from any WestJet destination. 3 nights accommodation, city of your choice, of course, 2 tickets to each game of the series, and 2 replica jerseys. I mean, you have a lot of great cities to choose from. But for $3,100, you can't go there on your own. Rayburn strikes out. Good fastball from J-Hap. That's his 3rd strikeout of the ballgame.
Boy, you just reach back, say, here's my fastball, 93. Let's see how far you can hit it. And Rayburn swings right through it.
Okay, Pat, so if you weren't working and you had a chance to go to a major league city and watch a ball game for 3 days, where would you go?
Okay. And I had to go watch the game?
You had the opportunity to watch the game.
Yeah. I like your idea of the San Francisco-Oakland thing. You got day games out there in Oakland, but you have your nights to yourself to hang around in San Francisco. You can watch the fireworks, like you were saying, on July the 4th. Great restaurants, great nightclub.
Yeah, and it's a great area that time of the year. It's beautiful weather. Of course, you got to wear your toque to the ball game at night. Summer times in the Bay Area are kind of cool at night. Carlos Santana, the 3rd baseman, tapped back to the mound in his first at bat.
I have a feeling you would like to go to Seattle.
I love Seattle.
Yeah.
I think it's a great venue. And if you're a Blue Jays fan and you want to experience the Blue Jays on the road, you got to go to Seattle. I mean, it is one of the most unique things that we see all summer long.
It's like a home game for the Blue Jays.
The West Coast Canadian fans are terrific. They come out, they all sport their Blue Jays gear, and they fill the ballpark. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. They've hit 2 solo home runs tonight. Ground ball. Laurie can't get this, and Santana beats the shift. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Jose Bautista autographed baseball. The charity broadcast auction. 1 out, runners at first and second. Asdrubal Cabrera with a double his first time up. He had 3 hits in the game last night, reached base 4 times, scored 3 runs. He's been swinging a hot bat. Rolls over on this off-speed pitch. Francisco steps on third. That's all he'll get. Swisher's out on the force out. So now there are 2 outs. Jesus Aguilar, who had his first big league at bat in the second, he walked. Was erased on a double play. Ground ball to third. This should end the inning. Francisco steps on the bat. The Indians get a couple of hits. They strand a pair. The auction continues. The fan pack total up to 45,000. Don't get shut out. Underway on Friday. Teams are set. Baldor, Edmonton, Guelph, and London all battling for Canada's Junior Hockey Championship. See the next generation of hockey superstars. The MasterCard Memorial Cup, May 16th through the 25th on Sportsnet. Blue Jays lead at 2-0. They've hit home runs in 19 of their last 23 games.
It's what they do. They've got outstanding power.
2 more home runs tonight. Colorado has hit 58 home runs. The Blue Jays, with 2 more tonight, have hit 55. Look at that 300 average for Francisco. He got a little excited and chased a high pitch. That's the one thing that Seitzer is really continuing to talk to Francisco about. Got to hit strikes.
Got to hit strikes, and you don't have to overswing. He's got that great power that we talked about his last at bat. Just make sure you catch it out in front. He doesn't have to wind up and swing hard or overswing as hard as he can to hit the ball out of the ballpark. I thought he had a nice little easy swing last time up, and he homered to left field.
Everything is up and away to Francisco in this at bat. It's 3-1. Juan Francisco's hit 5 home runs in his last 15 games. Got a little bit big on that swing, too. That slowed his bat down. Brett Lawrie is on deck. Lawrie has 7 home runs. There are no rest areas for pitchers in this Blue Jays lineup.
No, they've just got too many weapons right now. Too many guys who could hurt you. Ooh. That was a little bit long also. What was that saying that we heard in Kansas City? Swing easy and you'll enjoy the distance.
Yeah, a fellow named George Brett was working with Tom Watson's golf instructor, and he said as soon as you learn how to swing easy, you'll enjoy the extra distance.
I think the same thing applies to Francisco. And that means is you're a lot freer, you're relaxed, and you're calm, and it quickens your bat. It makes your bat a little bit faster, and you catch it out in front. When you grind it and try to swing and overswing, it slows your bat down.
Another pop-up back out of play. Francisco hit his 7th at bat. Excuse me, hit his 7th home run in his 80th at bat. And that puts him into a pretty impressive group of Blue Jay hitters that have hit 7 or more home runs in their first 80 at bats. Jose Canseco, Otto Velez, and Carlos Delgado. With 1 out, let's check in with Ivanka.
Buck, I'm really confused because there is one item that doesn't have a bid, and that is practicing pitching lessons, 30 minutes with Steve Delabar for 2 kids. Why wouldn't you want to learn from a pro, from one of the best? So like I said, it is for 2 kids, 30-minute pitching lesson from Delabar. You also get 4 tickets to the game and take in some pregame batting practice. Come on, call in. We gotta give Delabar some love.
Ivanka, that's a great point. And if you're not familiar with the Steve Delabar story, I think you would be impressed because he was out of the game and he was teaching baseball to kids in his hometown. And he learned about the weighted ball program, and he said, I'm not going to teach any kid until I do it myself. And in that weighted ball program, he was able to recapture his professional career. So he understands a lot about the mechanical aspect of pitching, and why not teach your youngster the right way? And Delabar has learned the right way.
That's a no-brainer right there. Plus you get to come to the game.
Well, besides the fact that he's a first-class person, and he will take extra care in working with your young pitchers. And he really lights up when he talks about teaching youngsters the game of baseball, especially the pitching aspect of it. It'd be a great opportunity to get to meet Steve and hear what he has to say about the art of pitching. Brett Lawrie, how about the art of hitting? Woo! That ball was away from him with 2 strikes. He just stroked it into right field. Looks like they got a bid on the Steve Delabar package. That's good news. They'll keep it coming. That's a nice start for the night.
Thank you.
We appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Keep them coming. Lots of great items up for bid, including that trip to Cooperstown with Robbie Alomar. Lawrie with a 1-out single to right. Eric Kratz had an infield hit. You think he hit it good?
I think he did.
Wow. Into the upper deck.
That fan almost got a souvenir. Watch where this one goes. Hooking. Right off the speaker. 5th deck.
Remember when this place first opened up? I mean, it was a rarity to see anybody hit one in the upper deck, even in batting practice. Just didn't see him all that often. Snap throw to first, and Laurie is back in. Yan Gomes has a rifle for an arm, and he will throw to any base.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to show it off either. It's very quick. Brett Laurie, the high secondary lead. It looked like the throw beat him, but they just couldn't get it down in time. Terry Francona is looking and trying to get an idea. That's why Yan Gomes is going out to talk to Salazar.
Brad Mills, the former Expo, is the bench coach for Francona. Here's another look at the slide. Yeah, he got back in. Looked like Swisher hit the bag with his glove before he took a swipe at the hand. Mills and Francona have been friends and teammates since college. They both played at Arizona. The high fly ball into right. David Murphy is there. Kratz is retired. 2 down.
Yeah, they were friends in college, and then they were drafted by the Expos and played on the same team. I played against them in 1980 in Double-A when they were together in the Southern League.
This is the 12th season Brad Mills and Terry Francona have coached together.
And all they do is win. Wherever they go, they win.
Brad Mills, of course, was the manager for the Astros, and when Francona was named manager here in Cleveland, first phone call he made, "Hey, Millsy, you ready to come to work again?" You got to have guys like that on your coaching staff, guys that you can have heart-to-heart talks with. You can have a confidant talk about all kinds of things, and trust is important. And these two, as we said, they've been friends since college.
You got to tell it the way it is, too. If you don't agree with them, you got to be able to speak up and say, "No, I think it's like this." That's very healthy.
Yeah, and you know what? The last thing a manager needs is a yes man. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh yeah, that's everything's not a great idea.
No. I want someone to disagree with me because I'm not always right.
2 outs, Anthony Gose. 2-0. Gose is playing in his first game here at Rogers Center this season. His previous 3 games all came on the road. April 17th in that beautiful series in Minnesota when it was so comfortable, 31 degrees. Then May 1st and 2nd at Kansas City and at Pittsburgh.
John Gibbons was talking about that game in Minnesota under brutal conditions, and Gose had a good game. He said he did some things to help us win. Unfortunately, he was caught in a numbers game and had to be sent back out, but he showed that he can do a few things to help the ball club win.
On May 1st at Kansas City, Anthony was 2 for 4, drove in a couple of runs, had a double in that game.
He says he's a big league player. He's going to get a shot here and get a chance to prove it.
Are you of the mind that some players played better at the major league level than they ever have in the minors?
I believe that wholeheartedly. I've seen it, with my own eyes, that they might not put up the best numbers in the minor leagues for whatever reason, and then they get in the big leagues and the bright lights and the personality maybe fits in. The pitchers are around the plate just a little bit more, and they become a different and a better ball player.
Now, there are a lot of things that factor in. First of all, you got to have talent, naturally. But the lights are better. The pitchers are more consistent. They're around the plate more frequently.
It's hard to hit an A ball, because a guy might throw one on the black and then 3 at your head. It's tough to hit an A ball once the pitchers start figuring that out. Once you get to Double-A, and they're able to try to set you up, and they're around the plate. I don't want to say hitting is easier, but becomes a little bit easier.
If you have the talent.
Yeah, you have to have the talent. And the smarts. You got to be smart.
2-2. Look at it. Oh, Ghost got drilled. Looked like it caught him pretty good right in the ribs. George Poulos, the head trainer for the Blue Jays, will check on Ghost, and that got him good. It hit him so hard it sounded like it hit a glove. So you got to think it might have caught him on the hip or in the rib cage.
Fastball, he pulls it right in the rib area. You got to give him a little bit of time here to gather himself and catch his breath.
Yeah, you just don't want to let the pitcher know how much that hurts, but it hurts. Pitching coach is making his way out to the mound. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Ivanka Osmak.
Thanks, Buck. I think I'm seeing double right now. Double ace? Yes, right in the flesh. We got ace. If you want to be a junior J for a day, a great package for you, for the whole family to hang out with Ace at the ballpark. Also 6 tickets to the game. And then you get some Junior Jays Club package for all your little ones in the group. How does that sound, Ace? Who's better looking? Back to you.
Thank you, Ivanka. And that's a great package for the kids. Junior J for a day. It includes the opportunity for 4 kids to help the Blue Jays J Force lead the 7th inning stretch. 6 field level infield Blue Jay tickets, an opportunity for 6 guests to attend pregame batting practice.
Josh Outman and C.C. Lee begin to throw. They just got up when Mickey Callaway went out there to talk to Danny Salazar.
The Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. They bat with 2 outs in the 4th. Salazar trying to throw a little harder, missed badly with that first pitch to Reyes. Blue Jays shortstop has gone 0 for 2 so far. Blue Jays runs coming on a pair of solo home runs. Edwin Encarnacion and Juan Francisco. Outside. Salazar, as you can see, has a great arm, but his lack of command is still a concern.
Consistency, or lack of consistency, right now is really hurting him. One time he'll throw that ball down. Another time he'll let it go and it'll shoot up away from him. And that's the learning experience right there. Again, he hasn't thrown since May the 7th. They're really guarding him in his innings and his turns. They'll juggle the starting rotation a little bit, and they might skip him at times just to protect that arm. So there might be a little rust. That was 8 days ago that he pitched in a game.
Brad Lawrence at second had a 1-out single to right field, and then 1 out later Anthony Ghost got hit by a pitch. It's a full count with 2 outs. The runners will be off on the pitch. If Reyes can keep the inning alive, Melky Cabrera will be next. There go the runners, and it's ball 4. The bases are loaded. That might be it for Salazar.
They can't afford to give up a big hit. They're facing the middle of the lineup of the Blue Jays. And Terry Francona is just trying to get one more out. He's coming up on 100 pitches in the 4th inning.
Yeah, that's obviously way too many. Salazar did something that hasn't happened before. He had 10 strikeouts in 3 2/3 on 93 pitches, and he was out of the game. It was against the White Sox. Gets ahead of Cabrera with a fastball. The Indians will go home to play Oakland and Detroit. They're in a stretch of tough games. You'd like to be able to get your start a little deeper than the 4th inning, obviously.
Yeah, you're going to wear out your bullpen.
It's a 2-run game. Jays up 2-0. So many pitches, and the Blue Jay hitters have all had a good look at everything he has to offer. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Right now he is struggling with his breaking ball. He just can't throw it where he needs to. That big league debut that you were talking about earlier against the Blue Jays, 7 punch-outs in 6 innings. He had a great breaking ball that day. And a fastball. This guy hit 100 miles an hour last year on the radar gun. So he's got a fantastic arm.
Yan Gomes not really sure what to throw to try to end this inning. So they'll go through another set of signs. Fouled into the glove. Gomes hangs on for the strikeout. We've played 4 innings. Jays have homered twice. They lead at 2-0. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. Comfort Zone. Our guests enjoying a seat upgrade courtesy of TD. We've seen a couple of long home runs here tonight, while over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from the Blue Jays Baseball Academy Rookie League. Welcome to the ballpark. Great to have you here tonight. And Seeing a pretty good pitching performance by Jay Happ, who is off to a good start tonight. Jay Happ is making his third start of the season. And he's done something tonight that has been a real problem for him in the past, and he has eliminated the walks. He's walked just one batter tonight.
He's got to attack. He's got to have short innings, quick innings, low pitch counts to go deep into this game.
Yan Gomes batting 7th in this line. The Indians have the bottom third of their lineup tonight: Gomes, Murphy, and Aviles. And it's really unusual, 7, 8, 9 in their lineup, but they're all great two-strike hitters. Means they'll see a lot of pitches. They're not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. They'll let the ball travel. And here's Gomes again with 2 strikes. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
That's when he does his best work.
He's hit .247 for the season, hitting with 2 strikes. That's 16th in the American League. What does it take to be a good 2-strike hitter?
Confidence. I think that's number one. You have to be confident. You can't be afraid to be hitting with 2 strikes. I think you have to be smart, and you have to have a small or a short swing. You can't have a long swing. You're going to strike out a lot. And you can say that about a lot of these Indians hitters. They've got one of the best approaches with 2 strikes in baseball. Their on-base percentage and slugging percentage with 2 strikes lead the American League.
David Murphy on deck. He's hit .327 this year with 2 strikes. That's 2nd in the American League. Not this time for Yan Gomes. That's a mile high. Bautista comes in from right. Makes the catch. 1 down.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Danny Salazar appears to be out of the ball game after 4 innings. A frustrating night for Salazar. Salazar will leave the ball game trailing 2-0, throwing 98 pitches in 4 innings. You know, pitchers can get frustrated by managers, and going to take you out. 4 innings. Well, the manager's response is, well, be more efficient. Then we'll keep you out there. The game has changed dramatically in the pitch count department. There's a fly ball hit hard to right, and Murphy has hit a solo home run. His 7th hit in this series. The home run number 3 for Murphy. And he has enjoyed his at-bats against the Blue Jay pitching, no matter whether it's here or at home.
Here it's .352 at Rogers Center for his career. This season, he's about a .500 hitter. Breaking ball, and he goes down and gets it. Curveball from Jay Happ and golfs it out of here.
That's the 10th hit Murphy has in 21 at-bats.
He had the big hit in Cleveland that helped them win a ball game against Aaron Luke. A bases loaded hit to left field, double, cleared the bases.
He has 9 RBIs against the Blue Jays this season. This is his 6th game. So it's a 2-1 Blue Jays lead. All the runs coming on home runs tonight. Mike Aviles, the second baseman. Aviles is a high ball hitter. We have seen that throughout this series. He got the first hit against R.A. Dickey Tuesday night on a high 0-2 knuckleball. Breaking ball lifted in the air. Anthony Gose backpedaling just shy of the warning track. Makes the grab. 2 down. Jay Happ has allowed just 1 run on 4 hits through 4 2/3. The Hall of Fame experience with Robbie Alomar is now up to $7,500. That's a trip to Cooperstown. Breaking ball fouled into the seats.
4 people, right? Okay, let's see. 4 guys, 2,500. That should be 10 grand to start. Right. 2,500.
How about the plane ride? Private plane down to Cooperstown. I mean, that's got to be a gorgeous ride. Probably get to see Niagara Falls and fly down over some gorgeous country. Michael Bourne stays alive. Put the bat on that ball. That was strike 3.
Yeah, you get to go with Robbie.
R.A. Dickey, his prize package has jumped up to $4,000. Private 30-minute knuckleball lesson with R.A. Dickey for 2. You get a personalized locker and 2 Blue Jays jerseys, and Michael Bourne hits a single into center field. His first hit of the night. 5th hit for the Indians.
Ahab tries to go outside. Looked like a little cutter away, and Bourne's able to reach out there and poke it into left field for a base hit. This is a team, the Indians, that scratch and claw and grind and stay right with you. They battle you all the way to the end.
Nick Swisher had a base hit in the 4th inning. We haven't seen Bourne run like he normally does. He had a hamstring injury started the season, going back to spring training. He has only 2 stolen bases in 5 attempts. Tells you he's not really sure about those legs yet.
And a stolen base is a big part of what the Indians do offensively.
He doesn't even look like he wants to run. 2-out situation. Going to get a visit from Sandy Alomar Jr., first base coach. (2-0) to Nick Swisher. Indians have scored a run here in the 5th.
He's not real sure of Jay Happ's move over to first base. So you can do a couple of things. You could go on first movement if you want. Get a walking lead, go on first movement. Try a delay steal. His first move has been back to first. See that?
Yeah, he's not really sure about the Happ move. So now it's 3-1. Ryan Rayburn is on deck. Rayburn has struck out twice so far tonight. Ball 4. So the second walk issued by Jay Happ comes with 2 outs here in the 5th. That pushes the tying run to second. And don't forget, check in on the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction, a broadcast experience. It includes a pregame Blue Jays Central meet and greet with Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. A tour of the Sportsnet broadcast truck. Practice with a pro, going for a new total, $4,300. Spring training getaway. Opportunity to go down to spring training and watch the Blue Jays in spring training. See some games. And I think there's even a round of golf involved in that. Can't go wrong with Florida in March.
No, going down there, and it's such a laid-back atmosphere. You can hang out with the ball players. They sign autographs. Everybody's loose and laid back.
Brian Rayburn takes the first pitch upstairs. David Murphy homered with one out, and then 1 out later, Michael Bourne had a single to center and then the walk to Swisher. Now it's 2-0. Blue Jays bullpen is up and working. That's Todd Redmond, the big right-hander. Been an ongoing battle for Pete Walker and John Gibbons to try to stretch these starters out deep into the ball game. And it just comes back to fastball command.
Be able to throw it when you need to, make a quality pitch, and just attack that strike zone. Get your breaking ball over when you're behind. Mark Burley has been doing it better than anybody this year.
2-1. Breaking ball hit fair, hits the chalk. Long throw for Francisco. He's got plenty of arm. So that ends the inning. The Indians will leave 2 more aboard. Francisco's got a cannon for an arm, takes his time, reaches back for a little extra to end the inning.
Pièce de resistance. The reason that you would pay so much money is because you get to have a meet and greet with the Greg Zahn, the Manalist. Why would people want to hang out with you guys, you and Jamie Campbell?
Well, I can tell you right now, the personality you see on television from Jamie Campbell, not the real guy. That's broadcast Jamie. What you want is to come down to the booth and see what goes on behind the scenes. The redheaded guy has a temper. I'm telling you, it's fun to watch. Come on down and hang out with us for a little while, see how we do our job, our show. You'll see my pregame ritual of feet up on the desk and Facebooking. That's how I get ready for a ball game. But he's locked and loaded every time. And
wait, do you get any fashion tips from yourself? Because this is quite the number you're wearing tonight, Zani.
If you would like some fashion tips, I can point you in the right direction. Don't be afraid of color. Don't be afraid of texture. It's okay to mix and match. I like to decorate myself like I would a room. It's just, but those are the kind of things you'll see and hear at the broadcast booth.
Now, did you hear that Tim, Sid, Kenny, and myself have thrown ourselves into the experience? And well, we're going to watch the game, but yet it's only at $2,500. I'm kind of
100.
It should be more, right?
Absolutely more. I'm thinking at least $5,000, because you're going to get all these Sportsnet talents in one place. Can you imagine the sports minds, the collective of sports?
Priceless. Exactly. Thank you, Zani. Buck, back to you.
Thank you, Ivanka. And now it's jumped up to 3,000. So good job by Ivanka and Greg to raise the awareness about that broadcast experience package. Jose Bautista, new pitcher, is C.C. Lee, right-handed. Lee in relief of the starter Danny Salazar, who managed to go just 4 innings. There's a little looping liner into center field. Bautista gets it going with a leadoff single.
He has faced C.C. Lee before. Basically sinker and that sweeping slider. Stays right on top of that one for a base hit. And there's Kevin Seitzer. It's always coaching. They're not talking about fundamentals or their swing. They're talking about what that pitcher's going to try and do to you to get you out.
Specifics of pitch by pitch. Edwin Encarnacion. He's off to a great start tonight. Solo home run in the second. A ringing double in the third. Average up to 250. Slow but sure climb toward 300.
I like the production. Look at the production now. 7 home runs and 28 driven in.
Two of the best power hitters back to back in all of baseball, Bautista and Encarnacion. They feed off one another, obviously, both right-handed bats. I tell you what, you talk about pressure on a pitcher. Hey, CC, you're into the game. Bautista, Encarnacion, then Lind and Francisco.
Doesn't get easy, does it? It's a deep lineup for the Blue Jays.
Breaking ball outside. C.C. Lee had Tommy John surgery, and who hasn't, in June of 2012. I mean, it's at epidemic proportions, especially this season.
I haven't had it, but I feel like I need it.
I could probably have it a couple of times over.
But no one knows why. Why is it an epidemic now? Why is it happening so much?
A lot of people are doing studies to try to get to the bottom of it. And Dr. James Andrews, who has been the expert on this for many, many years, believes that the radar guns have forced young players, I've been talking 12 to 16-year-old players, to really try to throw it as hard as they can. And he believes that a young player, a 15, 16-year-old pitcher, shouldn't throw any harder than 82, 83 miles an hour. But everybody is trying to get signed. Everybody wants a college scholarship. Everybody wants to light up the radar gun. And it's not natural, and their bodies aren't ready for it.
There's a time and a place for that. I was reading an article today about Joe Girardi and his son, what he's doing with his son. He doesn't want him pitching. And when the baseball season's over, he wants him to go play other sports. He doesn't want him to play baseball year-round. I don't think you can point to one factor why there's been so many injuries, but you add it all up.
There's a deep drive. He's gone deep again. Way back in left. Double E. Double up tonight.
We've said it a few times on this broadcast before. Home run hitters like Edwin Encarnacion, the production, the home runs, the RBIs, they come in bunches. And he's in one of those streaks right now. First time up, he clobbered a ball to center field for a home run, then just missed another one off the wall in left center. And then this one here off of C.C. Lee, no doubt about it. And it got out in a hurry.
Lee gives up a single and a long two-run homer. He's out of the ball game. Josh Outman in to face Adam Lind when we come back. homestand. That sidearm sinking fastball didn't have enough sink.
Didn't sink at all. And watch how quickly this one gets out. Right in the second deck, on a line, back row, second deck. And here comes Double E. Starts moving up the charts.
Salazar and C.C. Lee have given up 3 home runs tonight. Left-hander Josh Outman into the ball game to face Adam Lind.
A couple of lefties coming up for the Blue Jays. So one of the 2 lefties out of the pen now for Terry Francona.
Encarnacion had those 2 home runs against Philadelphia back in that Phillies series starting that night on Thursday night. Hit a home run off A.J. Burnett in the second, another one off Luis Garcia in the 7th. That's the night the Blue Jays hit 5 home runs. The Sportsnet charity broadcast auction is starting to get some big heavyweight bids now, and the trip to Cooperstown with Robbie Alomar is now up to $10,000, and that's more like it. Get a private plane trip down to Cooperstown. You get a tour of the museum with the Hall of Famer Robbie Alomar, lunch in Cooperstown, and then you get a tour around the little village there in Cooperstown and fly back to Toronto. All of that for $10,000. It is certainly worth the opportunity to spend the afternoon with the Hall of Famer in baseball's National Hall of Fame at Cooperstown.
And with 3 of your friends. Split that up. Cooperstown is incredible.
Now Outman in to pitch to the left-hander Lyndon Francisco, and he's fallen behind Adam Lind 3-1. C.C. Lee started the inning. He didn't retire a batter. Bautista singled, and Encarnacion homered. The Blue Jays will take this act on the road. Go down to Arlington. You know who's looking forward to that? Adam Lind.
Adam Lind, because he rakes down there, doesn't he? His numbers are astronomical in Texas. They'll get Yu Darvish tomorrow night.
In 27 games in Arlington, Lind has hit .327 with 12 homers and 35 RBIs. Blue Jays are tuning it up for the Rangers. Rangers have been really hit hard by injuries this year. Juan Francisco will like that ballpark as well.
Yeah.
Can reach the seats anywhere.
He might go crazy down there.
3-2, still nobody out here in the 5th. And fouls it back out of play. Blue Jays trying to win this series against the Indians. They split the first 2 games. Jays have a 4-1 lead, all their runs scoring on home runs. Breaking ball, and then strikes out.
Canon's Best in Glass sales event. Performance cameras and lenses at the season's best prices. Visit canon.ca/bestinglass.
Lots of people standing by the phones waiting for your phone calls to make a bid in the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction. It's in support of Jerry's Care Foundation. There's the number on your screen, so make sure you call in, make a bid on all 11 of those great items.
You only have till the end of the 7th inning.
Good point.
So just a couple more innings after the Blue Jays sit here to make your calls, make your donations.
10 minutes after the final out of the 7th inning, the auction will come to a close, so make sure you don't get shut out. Francisco hits it off the end of the bat. Shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera throws him out. 2 down. The broadcast experience after the appearance of Greg Zahn has jumped up to $3,400. Tee off with the alum, $3,500. Chance to play golf with Dwayne Ward, Jesse Barfield, and Lloyd Mosby. Outman is out. He retires the 2 batters he's faced. Scott Atchison in to face Brett Lawrie when we come back. Tough night for the Indians pitching staff. The starter on the left was Danny Salazar. CC Lee didn't get an out, gave up a single and a home run. Outman retired 2. Now Scott Atchison was the first pitch strike. Atchison, the 3rd pitcher to work this inning.
This inning, is veteran. He's been around. He's got very good fastball command, a little bit of a breaking ball. Batter's hitting just 135 against him this year, 4th best in the American League. He's been around.
He's a strike throwing machine. And he's not overpowering. He's not a guy that will light up the radar gun. But he has confidence that he can make quality pitches and have success. Just off the plate, and Lawrie went after it. It's 2-2. Atchison signed originally with the Seattle Mariners way back in 1999. He's one of those guys that just wants to pitch. He went to Japan for 2 seasons, 2008 and 2009, and then the Red Sox brought him back in 2010. Hit hard. That's a base hit for Lawrie. He's thinking about 2. He's around first, and he's going to make it. Lawrie slides into second with a 2-out double.
With Atchison, you can be ready to swing the bat. He's going to be around the plate. That's what Lawrie does. Keeps it right on the ground and just hustles his way into second base for a double. Breaking ball, and right there he realizes that Bourne and Rayburn are not going to get to that. With his speed, he makes that easily.
They appeal that Lawrie missed first base. And now they're waiting for the video room, and Francona at the top step waiting on. And Atchison, the veteran, is not on the mound yet, and he is back. Once the pitcher steps on the rubber and the batter's in the box, now Francona is going to go Talk to the first base umpire, Chris Conroy.
Well, we'll be able to tell right here.
That's going to be a tough one. He jammed his foot up against the bag, but it wasn't really clear whether or not he made contact with the bag. But he made a good turn, and that foot appeared to hit short of the base, but you can't tell whether or not his toe was up against the side of the base.
Right. That's exactly it. And they're going to look like they're going to take a replay on this one.
Chris Conroy, the first base umpire, made the call that he said Laurie touched the bag, and he calls the crew chiefs over, Jerry Meals. The crew chief will put the second headset on as they listen to the decision made in New York. The ruling on the field is that Laurie did indeed touch the bag at first. Again, you can't really tell from there whether or not the foot rubbed up against the base. And in order for the crew in New York to overturn it, there has to be clear and concise evidence that he did not step on the base. And you can't tell there.
Yeah, you can see the dirt shoot up from his spikes, but the front part of the shoe might have just grazed the bag right on that corner. But a heads-up play by the Indians to recognize that and appeal it. The umpire was standing right there looking straight down at it.
You have stepped on a base in the past where you step to the side of it and you can feel the base and you're
click it
against it. Jerry Meals has the decision now. The crew chief says safe. He turned to the Red Sox bench and indicated that the call on the field will stand. So Laurie has his double. Eric Kratz has gone 1 for 2 so far tonight. Goes after the first pitch. Santana at third throws him out. So the Blue Jays get 2 more. They're taking a 4-1 lead, and here comes the Home Hardware cleanup crew. Brought to you by Natura, Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products.
Encarnacion has been doing tonight. Maybe you should bid on this package, Batter Up Training Camp. 4 guests get to take part in some BP, and then you get to actually have a 30-minute private hitting clinic with hitting coach Kevin Seitzer. I'm sure you'll learn some really great tips and advice, just like Double E does. Right now, it is only going for $3,000, so you can call in. Don't forget, the auction closes 10 minutes after the last out in the 7th.
Thank you, Ivanka. And when you think about the opportunity to talk hitting with Kevin Seitzer, and this guy had a 200-hit season. He finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting. He's an accomplished player and a certainly very credible hitting coach.
I asked him today if he still hits, and he said, "Yeah, I took BP the other day." I said, "How'd you do?" "Hitting rockets." He says he's done it in fantasy camp too.
Carlos Santana goes after the first pitch. Melky Cabrera, the left fielder, makes the pitch. 1 pitch, 1 out. Here in the 6th, Jay Happ has a 4-1 lead.
Boy, that helps right there. 1 pitch, 1 out. Go ahead and challenge them right now with that 3-run lead. Make them hit their way on.
Luis Rivera setting up the infield defense. Asdrubal Cabrera has been on base twice. He has a double, and he's reached on the fielder's choice. Well, we see so many of these shifts, and everybody is utilizing all the information available. And you talk about information. You and I both know you can spend 24 hours a day looking at video, looking at stats, looking at spray charts, and it's endless. Many different sources. Many teams use a company called the Inside Edge, which gives you breakdowns of where hitters hit the ball. I think the one problem I have with it is you just don't know what a hitter is going to see on a given night. You certainly don't know what a pitcher's going to throw. Now, you set up your defense to defend against Asdrubal Cabrera. Does that tell you that Asdrubal Cabrera against Jay Happ, when he misses his spot, is not going to hit it at your shortstop?
I think that's a factor that has to be part of the equation right there. But I think everybody has to buy into it also. The infielders buy into it. I think the pitchers have to buy into it. I mean, if you're standing on the mound like that, you see a gigantic hole on the right side of the infield like that, that might freak you out. Start thinking you have to be perfect, or you got to pitch a little bit differently. I think everybody has to buy into it.
How do you think Jim Palmer would handle it?
Well, if Earl Weaver told him he was going to do it,
he'd disagree.
He'd disagree, exactly.
3-2, 1 out. That's tapped on the ground. This is trouble. Francisco barehands and throws it wide. Cabrera will go to second. 1 out. Let's check in again with Ivanka.
I just wanted to remind everyone about the fan packs, because in addition to the big items, there's also fan packs with Blue Jays memorabilia and collector's items available for $100 or $50. A great way to donate to Jays Care Foundation. There are some left, but they are going fast. So make sure to call in and you can get your fan packs, or rather go online to bluejays.com/broadcast auction.
Thank you, Ivanka. And those fan packs are really interesting because you'll get a lot of Blue Jays memorabilia, hats and balls, and might get a special signed autographed baseball. Good surprise package, and what a gift for a Blue Jays fan. 1 out. Jesus Aguilar has been on base twice. This is his first big league game. He's a native of Maracay, Venezuela. He's just 23 years old.
He's got some power. Look at the size of that body.
He hit 17 home runs in AAA before he was called up. Well, you talk about a memorable call up when you get that first call to the big leagues. Jay Happ beat him with that fastball at 94. Happ's had good velocity on his fastball tonight.
Yeah, we've seen some 93s and some 94s, and it's a quick arm swing that gets the ball up there fast. His breaking ball has been better. He's thrown it consistently in the strike zone. I'd stay right there. He beat him with that fastball. Go back in there. There you go.
Good call. Tied him up with that hit, and another strikeout for Happ. That's 4 tonight.
When you see a guy fouling it off and he's tardy, tie him up with that heater. Good idea right there.
Aguilar strikes out. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Yan Gomes, he's gone 0 for 2 so far. Jay Happ delivering that first pitch strike. Red hot David Murphy is on deck. Murphy homered against Happ in the 5th. Yan Gomes lifts a high fly ball to right. Easy play for Bautista. He's there. The inning is over. Jay Happ through 6. He has a 3-1 lead. The charity auction still going on. The phones are available. Call us up. Make a bid. Get a great prize.
Yes, this is actually life size. Check it out. I'm not a short person here. You can have this picture of Mark Burley. You just have to find room to put it somewhere in your house. Also, some other memorabilia from the Jays, including a framed 2014 Jays team signed jersey, 92-93 World Series alumni autographed bat, and how about a collection of gamed used equipment? That is the Major League memorabilia, and right now the highest bid is $5,000. Buck, do you have a card that big?
No, I really don't. But that's a great card to have, especially this season. Mark Burley is 7-1. He's got a chance to be headed to the All-Star game. So if you have that Mark Burley baseball card, probably get him to sign it. How about the 92-93 World Series alumni autograph bat signed by Devon White, Roberto Alomar, Paul Molitor, Joe Carter, and John Olerud, along with a Mark Burley baseball card. Pretty good collection of items. There's also autographed baseballs, including Jose Reyes, Melky Cabrera, Jose Bautista, and Brett Lawrie. Scott Atchison gave up a 2-out double to Lawrie, but then got crouched to end the inning. Anthony Gose has been on base twice. He walked and was hit by a pitch in the 4th.
Did you say Robbie signed that bat?
Yeah. The 92-93 World Series alumni autograph bat is signed by Devon White, Robbie Alomar, Paul Molitor, Joe Carter, John Olerud. How about 2 Hall of Famers on that bat?
And those 3 finished 1, 2, 3 in 1993 in the batting race, right?
You are correct. That is a terrific collector's item. Just that bat alone. plus the 2014 signed team jersey. Scott Atchison strikes out Anthony Ghost to start the bottom of the 6th. There's that bat. It's authenticated. That's that seal there that authenticates the signatures. Devon White, Robbie Alomar's autograph right there.
What was that called? Whamco or something like that?
Whamco.
Whamco. Those guys at the top of the lineup in '93.
White, Alomar, Molitor, Carter, and Olerud. Whamco.
And they're all on that bat.
Yeah. Reyes swings at the breaking ball. He's behind 0-2. Brett Cecil appears to be getting ready to come into the game. David Murphy, the left-handed hitter in the 8th spot, is the first batter.
Great job by Jay Happ tonight. Great job. 6 innings, 1 run. If he is indeed finished tonight.
Jay Happ did a terrific job. You bidders are doing a nice job. The R.A. Dickey experience up to $6,000. Reyes is headed for second. Here's the throw from left field. Not in time. Reyes with the head first slide. His first hit of the night.
You know, I always worry about those hitters when they go head first into the bases, especially aggressively like that. Ball sliced to left field. Rayburn gave ground to try and cut it off. Ben Zobrist just messed up his thumb. Sliding in like this into that bag. Josh Hamilton has been lost because of sliding into a base like that.
Josh Hamilton has been out since April 8th.
Ben Zobrist might need surgery on that thumb.
Well, I tell you, injuries are everywhere. The Texas Rangers, and we mentioned they're going to be the next opponents for the Blue Jays. They have 13 players on the disabled list.
That's half your team on the DL.
Elke Cabrera hits it hard, but right to the shortstop. Asdrubal Cabrera. The Rangers have an entire starting rotation on the DL. Matt Harrison, he might be looking at back surgery for a second time. Derek Collins coming back from knee surgery. Martin Perez is headed for Tommy John surgery. Joe Saunders, he has a sprained ankle, and Tanner Shepherds has an elbow issue. 5 starting pitchers on the disabled list.
Wow.
Jose Bautista singled and scored in the 5th.
How many pitchers do you have to calculate you need to finish the season?
23.5. According to Rick Williams, the great scout of the Atlanta Braves. That's how many pitchers, on average, Major League teams used last year.
23.
Yeah. During the course of a season, you will utilize 23 pitchers.
How many are on your 40-man roster?
Not enough.
So 40, if you take half of those 20.
Yeah.
And teams don't usually have 20 pitchers on their 40-man roster.
No.
20. You're still short.
Yeah. And that's why you have to stockpile talent in the minor leagues. I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, baseball doesn't know what the answer is.
I know if I was a GM, the only position I would draft is pitchers. Could never have enough.
Reyes came a long way down the line at third, but gets back. The broadcast experience, Greg Zahn was a fortune teller. He said it's worth $5,000. Now it's up to $5,200. Good job, Zahny. Get a chance to meet Jerry Howard. That's probably what's really pushed it over the top.
What about Joe? You get to hang out with Joe too, don't you?
Joe Siddle will be there with Jerry. Yeah, that's a great opportunity and a nice job by the bidders. Now it's up to $5,500 for the Jays on the road trip. Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. You'll get a chance to meet them down in the Blue Jays Central set. Bautista bounces it to short as Escobar Cabrera throws him out. Only one more inning left to make a bid in the Blue Jays charity broadcast auction. Make sure you check it out. Give us a call. Blue Jays have a lead.
Whole family, you come to the stadium, you get 6 tickets to the game, you also meet and greet with Ace, and 4 kids get to help out the Blue Jays J-Force lead the 7th inning stretch. I mean, why wouldn't you want to hang out with Ace? He's a really cool guy. Should put a bid on this. It's only going at $1,800 right now.
New pitcher in the ball game is Brett Cecil, making his 20th appearance. Cecil comes in because David Murphy is the first hitter for the Indians, and Murphy has been red hot.
And we finally found somebody who has had success against David Murphy. There are the numbers for Brett Cecil: 0-3 with a .458 earned run average. Lefty's hitting just .179 against Brett this year. And for his career, David Murphy is just 1 for 9. So you got to get this guy out.
Blue Jays have a 4-1 lead. We are in the 7th inning. Murphy waves at that first pitch. Another breaking ball. He lays off. Murphy's talking to himself. He knows he's had trouble against Cecil in the past.
Just reminding himself, stay in there. Don't give in to him. Watch the ball as long as possible. One thing you don't want to do as a hitter right here is jump at Brett Cecil. He's got a wicked breaking ball.
The Hall of Fame experience with Robbie Alomar now up to $11,000. Remember, the bidding will close 10 minutes after the final out of this 7th inning. So you don't have much time left, and don't be shut out. That's a terrific item. It's a private plane trip for 4 people with Robbie Alomar to Cooperstown. Murphy hits it up the first base line. That is trouble, and Murphy's going to have another hit. When you're hot, you're hot. His second hit against Brett Cecil, his second hit of the night. Let's check in on the tote board. Robbie Alomar experience is one of the big items. You can see the fan packs going for a new total, $63,000 worth of fan packs so far. Great job, fans. Great bidding on those great items. The Hall of Fame experience, $11,000. Batter up, $3,200. Practice with the pros, $6,000. One more inning left. Mike Aviles goes after the first pitch. Bautista got a good read off the bat. Makes it easy and right.
Ball sliced right back to him. David Murphy, what are you doing up there? everything he swings at versus the Blue Jays has been a hit. Good for him, because he wrote a letter to a little boy, sent in to get some baseball cards autographed, and he wrote a note back to him saying thank you for being such a fan and everything like that. Good guy.
Yeah, he's a terrific guy, and he's in his first year with the Cleveland Indians.
That's great where ball players, they get their letters, their fan mail, and he actually opened it up, read it was from a fan, signed the autographs, and wrote him a letter back. That doesn't happen every day.
David Murphy has a young family, and one of his children, a young girl, was in school talking about Thanksgiving, pilgrims and Indians, and raised her hand and said, my dad's going to be an Indian. That's a beautiful story. This could be too. Reyes shovels to Laurie, coming across the bag. Bourne outruns it. Tough to double up, Michael Bourne. With Next Issue, get unlimited access over 100 of the world's best magazines on your tablet. Baseball fans, sign up at nextissue.ca/baseball and get an extended 60-day free trial. Next Issue. Check it out. We're winding down on the opportunity to bid on these great auction items. Sportsnet Charity Broadcast Auction. You have until 10 minutes after the final out of the bottom of the 7th to make a bid.
What's the number going to be right here?
Hall of Fame experience has gone up from $11,000. It's going to jump late. $12,000. Great job. Major League Memorabilia is up to $6,600, and that's that great bat signed by 2 Hall of Famers, and 5 of those guys on the 92-93 Blue Jays team. Wamco, White, Alomar, Carter, Molitor, and Olderud have signed the bat in that Blue Jays memorabilia package. Nick Swisher got 1 for 2 with a walk. 2 down. Went around.
Nasty. That is a nasty breaking ball.
Alomar is ready in the Blue Jays bullpen. Swisher strikes out. They don't need Alomar for the moment. Good inning for Brett Sasom. Strands a base runner. 3 outs to go, and the bidding will be closed. Don't get shut out. proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Edwin Encarnacion had a multi-home run game back on May the 8th. And tonight, he has his second. Homers his first time up, and then against C.C. Lee. Sinker on the inner half, and he hits a bullet into the seats. His second home run. He also hit a double off the left field wall. So tonight, it's our drives of the game, brought to you by Edwin Encarnacion.
8 homers, 30 RBIs for Edwin Encarnacion. First pitch, breaking ball. Scott Atchison closed out the 5th inning. Had a good 6th inning. Now he's working here in the 7th. Edwin Encarnacion hit another ball hard. Lines out to the third baseman. Let's check in with Ivanka Osman.
Hey, it is crunch time, Buck. We're coming down to the wire. Already we're sold out of the $50 fan pack, so only the $100 ones and just a limited amount available still. Again, 10 minutes after the last out in this inning. We're trying to reach a goal of $200,000, and I think we can hit it tonight.
Sure looks like it, Ivanka. Fan packs up to $71,000. Great job. Keep calling. Not much time left. Atchison is out. Zepchinski in. Former Blue Jay Mark Zepchinski comes in. You've got Adam Lind and Juan Francisco, the next 2 scheduled batters. So they have gone to their second left-hander defender.
And Zepchinski has been around there 20 games already this year. 0-1 with a .251 earned run average. Great breaking ball. He'll throw it constantly to those left-handers. He can sink his fastball, tight little breaking ball. He's a valuable guy. Indians did a good job picking him up in a trade.
Adam Lind will come to the plate. You see Steve Tollison, who has come out on deck. It was Juan Francisco hitting behind Lind. Now Tollison has grabbed a bat. He's loosening up. Francisco homered in 3 at-bats. He was 1 for 3. Home run came in the 2nd inning off Danny Salazar. Zepchinski misses with that first pitch to Lind. Adam has gone 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. It's the first time Zepchinski has faced Adam Lind. Of course, they were teammates here with the Jays.
Kind of guy that you can throw him every day if you want to. Give him a day off, then you can use him 2 and 3 days in a row. We got 20 outings already this year, and 17 of them are scoreless.
Much like what he did last year for the Indians down the stretch. 24 of his 27 appearances with Cleveland were scoreless outings.
Perfect. That's exactly what you want. And you can see from that pitch tracker, he's throwing strikes, but he's not getting the call. 3 of them are in the box right there, and he only has 1 strike on them.
Lynn drives this one deep down the left side, but it slices foul into the seats. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Acer, official partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. It always gives you a great depiction of the strike zone. 5 pitches thrown to Lynn. That last one was on the inner half. He fouled it down the left side. 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Zebchinski strikes him out. 2 down. Greg Zaun and Jamie Campbell, they will be the host of the person who buys the Bronski Addis experience. You'll go down there and meet them on the set of Blue Jays Central, bid up to $5,200. Get a chance to meet Jerry Howard, Joe Siddle in the radio booth. Two outs. Steve Tallison batting for Juan Francisco. Robbie Alomar's experience to Cooperstown. The Hall of Famer will join you and 3 guests. Private airplane. The bid is up to $15,000.
1 out to go. And then you've got 10 minutes.
I can see that going up to $20,000.
Yeah.
Somebody's lurking in the weeds. That's a great gift. Great item.
That's the best one that I've ever heard of in any of these things that we've been to.
Well, if you're in the corporate business world and you have a big client and you want to impress him, hey, I got my friend Robbie Alomar. We got a private plane. We're going to fly down to Cooperstown and go around the Baseball Hall of Fame. Want to come along? Tallison grounds it wide of third. Foul. R.A. Dickey, the practice with R.A. Dickey up to $6,500. You guys are doing a great job out there. Make sure you don't get shut out. If you're lurking in the weeds trying to make a final bid, there are 2 outs, and as soon as the 3rd out of this inning is recorded, the clock will start ticking. 10 minutes after the 3rd out, the bidding will come to a close. Outside. Golfing experience with Blue Jays alumni. Great memorabilia pack that includes the World Series heroes. Devon White, Robbie Alomar, Paul Molitor, Joe Carter, John Oliver. They've all signed a bat. Collison stays alive. The Hall of Fame experience. A private trip on a private airplane down to Cooperstown. Have lunch with Alomar in Cooperstown. That package is for 4 people to join Robbie Alomar at the Hall of Fame. Tallison works Zebchinski for the walk. Terry Francona using his bullpen. He'll go to the pen once again. Zebchinski strikes out Lynn but loses the pinch hitter Tallison. John Axford, big right-hander. The Canadian will come on to face Brett Laurie. Canadians going head-to-head when we come back. Canadian John Axford making his 19th appearance. Axford was the closer start of the season. You can see he has 9 saves and a couple blown saves, and they have switched gears a bit. Axford was removed from that closer's role, and he is now trying to regain his command and get back into that 9th inning situation. While we've got a quick second, let's check in quickly with Ivanka Osman.
This is the exciting part, Buck, where we can't keep up with all the changing bids and everything, but the one item that needs a little help, it hasn't really budged at all, is the Junior J for a day. And let me just go over again what it is. Opportunity for 4 kids to help with the J Force during the 7th inning stretch. You get 6 tickets, a game, as well as attend pregame batting practice, and you get to meet and greet with Ace. That's what it's all about. So we need some more phone calls and more bids for Junior J for a day.
Ivanka, that sounds like a great prize package for a birthday party. You got a kid that's going to have a birthday later on this summer. Bring him down to the ballpark, get him on the field, help out Jay's fourth during the 7th inning stretch. Alomar has jumped up to $16,000. Brett Laurie against John Axford. 2 outs. Collison has a stolen base this year.
You know, the Indians are doing their part to help out the charity auction right here. Long 7th inning.
Terry Francona has gone to the bullpen. This is the 3rd pitcher to pitch here in the 7th. We'll have to send Terry Francona a thank you note. 2 outs. Broadcast experience up to $6,200. R.A. Dickey. Practice the knuckleball with R.A. Dickey. $7,000. Outside. Spring training getaway. You get to go down to Dunedin, Florida. See some spring training games. Play a round of golf. Remember, it's March. Remember what this past March was like, folks? Get on the phone.
A little cold, wasn't it?
It was a little cold.
How was it in Florida? You were down there.
Yeah, it was kind of hot. A couple of days we had to take off because it was too hot. 1-1 count to Brett Laurie. Spring training getaway includes round-trip airfare for 2, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to watch 2 Blue Jays games of your choice, 2 replica jerseys, tour spring training facility, and 1 round of golf. And oh, by the way, that's Clearwater Beach in March. Remember what last March was like. 1-1 pitch. Laurie takes it upstairs. Snap throw to first. Yan Gomes has made 9 errors, and 7 of them have been throwing errors, just like that, where he'll take a shot, try to get out of the inning.
But you know what? You can't be afraid to throw it around like that. He's got a great reputation as a good throwing catcher. If you start getting gun shy like that, you're not going to throw anybody out.
2-1. Axford straightened up Laurie with that inside fastball. Brett's 2 for 3 tonight. Laurie's average up to 244.
Paying a lot of attention to that runner over there at first base with 2 outs.
Saw the on deck hitter Eric Kratz. There goes Thomason. Pitches ball 4 inside. Axford walks Brett Laurie. The inning is still alive. More time to make a bid. Practice with a pro, $2,500. The all access experience, $5,000. Get on the phones. We're winding down here. Remember, we've got a goal of $200,000. You can help a great charity effort, the Jays Care Foundation. They reach out to help kids across Canada, and by making a bid, you will have the great feeling of knowing you're helping some kids as well. Eric Kratz bats with 2 aboard and 2 outs. The Hall of Fame experience with Robbie Alomar currently at $16,000. That is for 4 people to travel to Cooperstown with Robbie, a Hall of Famer. Tee off with the Blue Jays alumni. That's a pretty good bid, $7,500. And I know one thing, you can hear Lloyd Mosby get on Jesse Barfield for 18 holes.
And he's funny. he's a lot of fun when he does those camps.
Look at the fan packs. Boy, they have been a big hit. $85,000 for the fan packs. They got to be running out, so make sure you call. Junior J for a day, the birthday idea. Got it up there to $2,000. What a way to surprise your kids saying we're having a birthday party. Where are we going? Down on the field at Rogers Center. Two balls and 2 strikes. It's been a long 7th inning.
That's a good thing.
Blue Jays lead it 4-1. All of the runs scoring tonight have come on home runs. Edwin Encarnacion has hit 2, driven in 3. Juan Francisco had the other Blue Jays homer. For the Indians, who else? David Murphy with a solo home run. He has 8 hits in the series. High breaking ball that Kratz fouls back. $100 fan packs are still available. There's the number on your screen to call. You might get a signed baseball from Edwin Encarnacion, maybe Juan Francisco. Hall of Fame experience has jumped up to $17,000. We're pushing for $20,000 for that Hall of Fame trip.
I think that's what it would be a real good number for that.
Kratz strikes out. The inning is over. The clock will start ticking now. Just under 10 minutes left for your bids in the broadcast auction. Steve Delavar into the ball game. We'll go to the 8th.
Steve Delabar has just taken the mound, and you can actually get some pitching lessons. 30 minutes one-on-one with Steve Delabar and all his glorious beard. Right now, it's a pretty good deal. It's only going for $2,500. As I mentioned, it's 30 minutes with Delabar, and then you get 4 tickets to the game as well as batting practice for 4 people. So it's $2,500 right now, Buck. I think that's a steal. But again, the clock is ticking.
It sure is, Ivanka, and we want to thank you for all your efforts. Ivanka's done a great job tonight. As the hostess of the broadcast auction, the phones are still open, so make sure you log on. 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Don't be shut out. Some great items still within reach. Robbie Alomar at $17,000. Steve Delabar into the game, his 19th appearance of the season. Jay Happ went 6 innings. He gives up 1 run on 6 hits. Ryan Rayburn goes after the first pitch. Rayburn get the start in left field tonight. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Michael Brantley, the regular left fielder, left last night's game with a sore lower back. He's on the bench, but we're not sure about his availability. That's a fair ball. Hit the line down the right field side. A fan reached over and touched it, and Rayburn will start the 8th with a leadoff double.
Steve Delabar's got a good fastball. His last time out, he really used it, and he painted with. This time it's a little bit up, and Rayburn keeps that ball fair down the right field line.
Well, it seems like a lopsided affair because the Blue Jays have hit 3 home runs, but it's a 3-run game. Jays have a 4-1 lead. They have switched positions, obviously, with Tolleson pinch hitting for Juan Francisco. Laurie is back at 3rd. Tolleson now at 2nd.
That's tough to do, you know, when you go back and forth like that, but Laurie can handle that. He's a good athlete.
Ball gets away from Kratz, but not far enough to advance. That looked like it might have been a strike. Delabar threw the fastball, and it went off Kratz's glove. Santana hit a home run last night. A 2-run home run to right. I told you they look like strikes.
Yeah, both of them. Could that be because you don't catch it? The umpire sees it as a borderline?
Shouldn't affect it. We saw Michael Bourne called out last night because of a pitch that Josh Tolley didn't catch. Well, there's 3 strikes in the zone, and it's 3-1. Oh, we love that pitch tracker.
That's why we talk about it every night.
Batter up training camp, $4,200. That's the Kevin Seitzer experience. Santana will walk, so the first 2 reach against Delabar here in the 8th, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate.
You know, the 8th inning has been such a trap inning for the Blue Jays this year. It really has. They have not been able to get to the closer at times, and now they have their closer in Casey Jansen. And their loop is now up. But it's been a tough inning for the Blue Jays this year.
We know the Indians have a healthy Lonnie Chisenhall on the bench. Not sure about Michael Brandon. So Loop is getting up with the thoughts of Chisenhall batting for Aguilar in that spot behind Cabrera. There's a sinking line drive to right. Bautista gets there. Cabrera hit it hard. 1 out. Let's check in with Ivanka Osmak.
Thanks, Buck. Okay, officially all fan packs are sold out, the $100 ones and the $50 ones. What about the Blue Jays on the road? Right now it's going for $6,900, but remember, you can choose the location of where you go. You get round-trip airfare for 2, 3 nights accommodation in that city, and then, of course, tickets and Jays jerseys. With the Yanks with them going to Yankee Stadium or Fenway or even the left coast, this is a really good deal.
Ivanka, we're going to hit $20,000 on the Hall of Fame experience. I feel it coming. 19-5, just 500 away. Come on, you're running out of time. Make it 20,000. One out. Lonnie Chisanoff had a 5-hit game last night, batting for Aguilar. There's a drive hit to center. Anthony Ghost got a good break and runs it down. 2 hard hit balls, 2 outs. Robbie Alomar is up to $20,000. Great job, D. Clement. 2 minutes left. That's a great prize and a good return for that prize for the Jays Care Foundation.
Keep it coming.
Yan Gomes, the catcher. 2 on, 2 outs. Gomes hit a 3-run home run last night in the ninth. Ball squirts away from Kratz, but not far enough to advance.
Squirted up the third base line. You don't want to get thrown out here. Tying run is at the plate. That at bat last night that you were just referencing right there by Yan Gomes, outstanding. 12 pitches before he finally homered to right field. It's a big at bat right here.
1 minute left in the auction. Don't get shut out. Hall of Fame 21-3. Strike one. The Wamco bat in the Major League Memorabilia has sparked the bidding. 12-5. Tee off with the Blue Jays. 12 grand. Great job. Two and one. Steve Delabar's appearance has boosted his prize package. $3,300. 2 and 1. Get the head out. He hooked that ball. Memorabilia package updated. 12-5. The auction is over. We will have a update. Look at that Hall of Fame, 22-6. Great job. Two balls and 2 strikes to Yan Gomes. Ground ball up the middle, through into center. Around to score. Here's the throw to the plate. It is on line but late. Ryan Rayburn scores, and it's a 2-run game. Yan Gomes delivers the RBI.
He is just a good hitter. You talked about him hitting with 2 strikes. Not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Hits it right back through the middle. Ghost comes up firing, and the ball tailed on him just a little bit. But Gomes, a big hit last night, 3-run home run, a big hit here in the 8th inning. It looks like it's going to knock Steve Delabar out of this game.
Managers are playing matchup. It'll be the left-hander Aaron Luke to come in and face David Murphy when we come back. Jays have a 2-run lead. And we will have a final update. I'm sure the fan pack topped out at 90 grand. The Hall of Fame experience 22.6. Great job, and we appreciate all your bidders' contributions to a wonderful cause. Blue Jays Care Foundation. Now Aaron Loop will try to close out top of the 8th.
And facing a very tough hitter. You see lefties hitting just 194 against Aaron this year. He's only given up 6 hits to lefties this season. One of them was to this guy hitting right here.
A bases loaded double that decided the 3rd and final game of the series in Cleveland early in the year. Blue Jays were in line to sweep that series, but David Murphy had a double down the left field line with the bases loaded off of Aaron Loop.
So a little redemption here. This is the hit that you were talking about. Aaron had loaded the bases with walks, and then David Murphy came up and sliced the ball down the left field line. All 3 runners would come around to score as the ball bounced away from Melky Cabrera. Blue Jays ended up losing that game late, 6-4 to the Tribe. David Murphy again right in the middle of everything.
So Loop trying to even the score here. The Indians trail by 2. And he does. Loop strikes out Murphy. He wins the battle this time. The Indians score a run, strand 2. Blue Jays lead at 4-2. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. Blue Jays have a 4-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th. John Axford came into the ball game with 2 outs in the 7th, walked a batter, and then struck out Kratz to end the inning. He continues to work here in the bottom of the 8th. Cleveland just won't go quietly. Remember last night they scored 11 of their 15 runs after the 6th inning.
Great at bats, and that's why you just have to keep trying to tack on runs. Blue Jays have had runners on tonight. They have left 10 runners on. They've had their chances to bust this thing open. Terry Francona is playing this one close to the vest.
Rogers customers can watch the Blue Jays on Sportsnet live on your smartphone. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com/sports to get started. Anthony Gose goes after the first pitch. Bouncing ball. Aviles at second throws him out. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 8th. Aviles filling in at second for Jason Kipnis, who's on the disabled list. Aviles is a very valuable guy to have. He can play second, short, third, and he's made a start in the outfield.
Yeah, we've seen him in the outfield. Also, Jason Kipnis is just now starting to do some baseball activities. And they miss him. He's a fantastic player.
Jose Reyes has been on base twice. His average slowly creeping up. It's at 220. Blue Jays have 9 hits. The Indians have matched that total. If the Blue Jays can hold on and win this game, they will have a 5-4 homestand. Not exactly what they had in their sights, but after losing 3 of 4 to the Angels, I guess they'll take it.
Yeah. 6-3, 7-2, more like it. Tough road trip coming up with Texas and then Boston, and then right back home 10 more games here at Rogers Center. So a chance to do something in the standings.
Homestand will be Oakland, Tampa Bay, and Kansas City when the Blue Jays finish up this next road trip. Reyes aboard. Reyes is on base. Let's check in with Ivanka Osmak.
Buck, Pat, we knew the Hall of Fame experience was going to attract a lot of bidders. We knew it would go for a lot of money because it's such a unique experience. Well, how about this? It is going to 2 bidders now. 2 bidders for a total of $46,000, $23,000 each. So thank you very much to Robbie Alomar, because he is going to be the tour guide at the Hall, and also to Private Air, who's flying down 2 groups of 4 to Cooperstown. That is huge.
What a fabulous gesture by Private Air and Robbie Alomar both. Lots of money raised for a good cause. New picture when we come back.
Total for tonight's auction, $256,235. Unbelievable. Thank you to everyone who helped us out tonight. Last year we raised $183,000 in support of Jays Care Foundation. Our goal tonight was $200,000, but as you can see, we surpassed it by more than $56,000. So just incredible. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the bidders for calling in, and thank you, everyone, for watching, because it's been a tremendous evening, and I can't wait for next year. Buck.
Ivanka, congratulations to you. Another fine effort tonight, and everybody involved down there taking the phone calls and helping out with all of the items. And how about the Robbie Alomar experience?
Yeah.
Just as we thought. When you really think about it, an opportunity to go to Cooperstown. And 2 groups will have that experience. And congratulations to Private Air for their efforts. And thank you very much.
Cody Allen will become the 6th reliever tonight for the Cleveland Indians. He has taken over the closer's role right now for the Indians. John Axford lost that one. Allen's got a terrific arm, good fastball, and a very good curveball.
Melky Cabrera takes the first pitch strike. Reyes is on base for the 3rd time, and he's a threat to run. Blue Jays have a 2-run lead. There goes Reyes. He got a good jump. Gomes' throw. What a good one. Boy, he threw it on the money. A tough pitch to throw. It looked like a breaking ball down and in. And Gomes is a strong arm. And Reyes is caught for the first time this season.
Curveball, and I thought he had a great chance. He picked on a great pitch. But Gomes has a terrific arm. Great arm. Look at this strike. Right on the back. I didn't think he had a shot at it when it was a curveball. Then it was in the dirt.
He was out.
Yeah, when you see it tags him right on the helmet, Gomes gets it. He's one of the better throwing catchers in the American League.
Well, not only did he make a strong throw, but he caught the short hot curveball. And that's how you have to catch that ball. You backhand it. It's a do-or-die play. You either catch it or you don't, but it's the only chance you have to throw out the runner.
All in one motion. That was a great play. Reyes was perfect in stolen base attempts this year. Picked on a good pitch, a curveball, and it was in the dirt, and he's still out. The replay showed that he was out. He was tagged right on the helmet.
He was out easily. But Blue Jays got to take a shot here and appeal for it. Watch the tag right on top of the helmet by Cabrera. I mean, he's out by a foot.
Even when he tags him on the back, he is still not at the base.
Second base umpire Jordan Baker made the call. He is there with the crew chief, Jerry Meals. Reyes still not convinced he should leave the field. He was a perfect 5 for 5. Gomes with a strong arm. Last year, he threw out 38.3% of the base runners.
It shouldn't take that long.
Now, he's out from every angle you can see. Jerry Meals has the decision, and it will stand. So Yan Gomes throws out Jose Reyes. Now there are 2 outs. Melky Cabrera with a 1-1 count. As Pat mentioned, this is a very good bullpen. This bullpen matches up with the best in baseball. Popped into the air, left field. Ryan Rayburn is there. Cody Allen is out of the 8th. Casey Jansen coming on. There's a save on the line. Blue Jays up 4-2. Casey Jansen into the game. for his third appearance, trying for his second save of this series. Picked up his first save of the season Tuesday night in the 5-4 Jays win.
That was more like it on that night right there by Jansen.
Kevin Pillar has taken over in left field.
What Casey did in that game, he was just attacking the strike zone. An inning, he did give up a hit, had a strikeout. He'll cut that ball in and out.
Number 9 hitter is Mike Aviles. Aviles has been shut out tonight. 0 for 3. Off the end of the bat, queued up the first baseline foul. Blue Jays scored 4 runs tonight, all on home runs. Edwin Encarnacion with his 13th career multi-home run game, his second of this homestand. For Encarnacion, home runs number 7 and 8, and right next to him, the other home run slugger tonight, Juan Francisco, hit a solo home run, his 7th of the season. Two and 2 to Mike Aviles. If you're just joining us, the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction totaled $256,235. Congratulations to all involved. There's a fly ball to left. Pillar just into the game defensively. Makes the catch. Now time for a preview of what's coming up next on Connected. Here's Ken Reed and Tim McAuliffe. Thanks, guys. That's all coming up right after this ball game on Connected. Back to the top of the order. Michael Boland takes the first pitch strike. Jansen is the 5th Blue Jays pitcher to work tonight. Jay Happ went 6 innings. He's in line for the win. Cecil Delabar looped, now Jansen out of the bullpen. Ground ball. Collison at second. 2 down. The Indians down to their final out.
Blue Jays trying to win the series and bounce back after last night's game. That was a tough one. Get a little momentum heading out on the road. Casey Jansen just 1 out away from that.
Nick Swisher shows bunt and takes a strike. Blue Jays using that shift, and if Swisher could get on, he would bring the tying run to the plate.
Reyes wasn't budging, but now he does. You can see he's right in on the grass portion of the infield, right at that infield line to take away the bunt.
Curveball outside. It's 1-1.
And you have to. You're right. Tying run on deck. Swisher bunts. He hasn't had much success against Jansen in his career. He's 3 for 20. So he's thinking of any way to get on.
Casey Jansen used that cutter very effectively to left-handed hitters. Swisher rolls it foul.
Think about that cutter when you're throwing it into the left-handers. If you take a little something off and you mess up the timing of that hitter, he's just going to hit a ground ball to the right side. The bat's out in front, it's cutting, it gets underneath the barrel, and you top it. And you hit a lot of ground balls to the right side.
That's a foul ball just outside of first. This is the 9th game of the homestand. The Blue Jays have hit 3 home runs tonight. In the 9 games, they have 15 home runs. John Gibbons doesn't have too much to worry about with the offense. Jay Happ did a good job with his 6 innings tonight. And the Blue Jays are looking at a winning homestand.
Jay did well. 6 innings, 1 earned run. Cecil Delabar to finish the 8th, and now Jansen in the 9th. That's been a winning recipe for the Blue Jays.
This should do it. Anthony Ghost waiting for it to come down. It does. The Jays win it. Jansen picks up his 2nd save of the series. Juan Francisco, Edwin Encarnacion doing the long ball damage. And the Blue Jays have a 5-4 homestand. They take the series from Cleveland.
I think the MVP, though, is Jay Happ. After what happened last night, they needed some length from their starter. Jay comes out, throws 6 innings, spaced out 6 hits, gave up 1 earned run against a team that scored 15 last night. Gave the offense a chance to knock the ball out of the ballpark, and a big win for the Blue Jays as they head out on the road.
Good way to start the road trip, going down to Texas. Blue Jays win it 4-2. We'll see you tomorrow night from Texas. Yu Darvish, Drew Hutchison. Great night for the Blue Jays charity broadcast auction. Over $256,000. Stay tuned.